Coming up on Cronkite News, COVID-19 cases are increasing once again. Is it something to worry about ahead of the holidays?
Plus, one local company is helping Native Americans who seek treatment for mental and behavioral health.
And later, the Cardinals are in Mexico City for Monday Night Football, which is generating lots of excitement at home and abroad.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Atria Maneshny.
And I'm Sydney Whitty. Thank you for joining us. In the midterm elections, close to 2,600,000 votes were cast in Arizona.
As Olivia Doles tells us now, almost 2 weeks after the election, the final results are in.
A little over 3,300 votes were left to count. And as of this afternoon, Maricopa County released the final results, and it appears the race for Arizona Superintendent and Public Instruction and Attorney General will be heading to a recount because they fall within the 0.5% margin. The Maricopa County Elections Office says today's count included provisional ballots and those with cured signatures under review, but there have been a number of legal challenges. Over the weekend, the Arizona Attorney General Office Election Integrity Unit sent a letter to Maricopa County asking them to formally address concerns related to the election, including printing problems and checkout procedures. The AG's office has given the county a November 28th deadline to respond. That's the same day all 15 county boards are required to certify their election results. However, the Cochise County Board of Supervisors voted last Friday to put a hold on certifying their election results, citing concerns over their voting machines. That delay can potentially jeopardize state certification, which is set for December 5th. I reached out to the Arizona Secretary of State's office about this. They told me they expect all counties to certify by November 28th. After that date, they will take legal action if necessary. In the newsroom, Olivia Doles, Cronkite News.
With Thanksgiving coming up and more holiday travel to follow, should COVID-19 be something to worry about? Cronkite News health reporter Ryan Tizmaneski joins us from Banner University Medical Center with the latest numbers.
It's a story that we've seen before. While they're nowhere near last year's numbers, COVID-19 cases are once again trending up before the holidays. The most recent data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows all counties in Arizona, besides Graham, at high transmission levels. In the past week, there have been around 10,775 cases. Hospitalizations also increasing, with an average of 120 admissions in the past week, according to the CDC. In addition, Arizona is also seeing increased levels of influenza and respiratory syncytial virus, commonly known as RSV. Will Humble, the executive director of Arizona Public Health Association, has advice for those who are traveling for Thanksgiving and the upcoming holidays.
We've got influenza happening earlier than normal. We've got COVID-19 infections here right on time, both of which are putting some strain on the hospital system. And then on top of it all, we've got an unprecedented amount of RSV that's been circulating. And of course, that affects everybody. You know, the take-home message for folks is to be careful and get your influenza vaccine and your COVID-19 booster before you get on a jet and come to Arizona, because it's all over the place here.
Because of that triple threat, Banner Health has implemented visitor restrictions. Now, Humble says that this is common, but usually only in January and February, never this early. In Phoenix, Ryan Tizmaneski, Cronkite News.
The increase in illnesses right now has also led to a shortage of a drug commonly given to children for infections. The antibiotic amoxicillin is commonly used to treat illnesses like throat and ear infections. Right now, 3 of the top 4 makers of the antibiotic are reporting supply chain issues. Children generally take the liquid form of the drug, which is reportedly where most of the shortages are occurring. The FDA says the shortage is due to high demand and says it's working with drug makers to fix the problem. A new Arizona healthcare company is offering services to Native Americans seeking treatment for mental and behavioral health. Health reporter Geraldine Torellis tells us what makes this company so unique.
Indigenous Health is owned and operated by Native Americans for Native Americans. It incorporates Indigenous culture to help those who are struggling with substance abuse. And building trust with their clients is a top priority. A sense of home. That's how Ryan Martin, the program director at Indigenous Health, describes the healthcare company. On Mondays and Wednesdays, clients arrive for a day of therapy that begins with meditation, prayer, and a talking circle.
We take them on hiking trips, we take them to the library, we even take them to the malls to kind of introduce them to, normal social settings that they would typically encounter when they do transition into a world of being sober.
Clients use another word, family, to refer to the others in their group as they listen, support, and encourage one another. Indigenous Health is a rehabilitation center founded by Dr. Crystal Lee that blends Native American healing with Western medical practices.
One by one, at an individual level, we are helping our community members that need the help and trying to secure them with housing, employment, education, while giving them counseling, reuniting families.
Helping Native Americans is Lee's passion. She is Dene, a member of the Navajo Nation.
My tribal clans are Natorene Tachinishle, Nanesh Ezer Tambahan Bashichin, Senjakina Dashiche, Kinflachin Dashanele. It's very important that that is incorporated because that's the core of the identity of who we are and how we're interconnected.
Prior to starting Indigenous Health, Lee assisted Native Americans during the pandemic through her nonprofit United Natives. She saw that many patients were also struggling with substance use, so she started Indigenous Health to offer treatment and housing. One key goal is for providers to build trust with their clients. Instead of white coats, they dress in everyday clothes. More importantly, the medical staff are Indigenous too: Navajo, Hopi, Sioux, and Seminole.
Achieving health equity and mitigating health disparities has to come from our own community.
And if you don't come from the community, if you don't understand our community, it's really hard for you to help heal our community.
Lee is using her knowledge and expertise to assist her people, whom she and Martin refer to as their relatives.
The true foundation of what Indigenous Health aims to do is to bring back our culture and our language as our number one focus, to give us that core, to give us that center again, and to bring us back home.
For more information on Indigenous Health and the services provided, visit indigenous-health.com.
Many people across the valley are looking for help putting food on the table this holiday season due to rising prices.
Organizations like St. Mary's Food Bank are in full swing helping those in need.
St. Mary's Food Bank is holding their annual turkey distribution, where they give out around 10,000 to 12,000 turkeys over 3 days, along with other food and produce. Cars lined up at their distribution center in Phoenix, where Thanksgiving meals were handed until noon Monday. This year, the organization says the need may be greater both for people seeking donations and for St. Mary's itself.
I've seen a decrease in donations, both from the public and from federal programs. A lot of the COVID programs that were going on 2 years ago have now ended. So we're buying more food than we have at any other time. And like everybody else who goes to the grocery store, when we buy that food, it costs more.
They are also giving out meals at their surprise location 8 to noon Tuesday and Wednesday. The only requirement is to bring a state ID or a piece of mail showing a local address.
Coming up on Cronkite News, some Arizonans can look forward to a wage increase in the new year. We'll take a look at some of the anticipated impacts.
Plus, one Tempe-based company announced more layoffs. We'll tell you how many jobs are being cut and why.
Okay, let's go right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge? You can do anything. History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just going to love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app. On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavour to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
I'm gonna kick down every single door. I'm gonna show you what you never ever seen before. So control you, I'm gonna show you.
This is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Look at me now.
Fight the power.
Look at me now. Look at me now.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
It was a little bit chilly today with temps in the low 70s.
Sarah Blue is in the Cronkite News Weather Center. Sarah, what's tomorrow looking like?
Well, Sydney, we can expect that sweater weather to continue to tomorrow. Through the commuting hours, we're going to be in those 50s, reaching the 60s around 10 a.m. But we have some clouds coming in tomorrow due to this low pressure system that's hanging out off of the coast of California. As we move into Wednesday, there's a high pressure ridge building that's going to chase away those clouds. And as it comes in, it's going to bring in that wind from the north. We also have another pressure system building off to our east, which is going to bring cooler temperatures along the eastern border of the state. But as we move through Thursday, as this high pressure system moves in, we're going to have those warm temperatures for Thanksgiving. Now, if you are traveling for the holiday, you may want to pack a sweater because we're expecting 40s in Salt Lake and Denver, same in Billings, looking in 50s for Kansas City, Memphis, and Tennessee. Looking up in New England, you can see there are even some temperatures in the 30s, but we're expecting those 70s back here in Arizona. We can see those 70s and cloudy tomorrow. A slight cooling on Wednesday, but 73 on Thanksgiving. As we move through the rest of the week, we can expect those sunny skies and those 70s for the next few days. From the Cronkite News Weather Center, I'm Sarah Blue.
Employees earning minimum wage in Flagstaff are getting a boost in pay, whether businesses like it or not.
Cronkite News reporter Alexia Stambridge tells us that starting in January of 2023, Flagstaff minimum wage will go up more than $1 per hour.
Ski season is here, and First Chair Rental Shop is ready for the tourists looking for snow. But looming over this seasonal business is the minimum wage increase coming in January.
They just see a great big number of, oh my gosh, we're going to make this much minimum wage, but the ripple effect to a business is pretty devastating.
In 2023, the hourly minimum wage will increase for most workers from $15.50 to $16.80. Hourly tipped minimum wage will also increase. Owner of First Chair Rental Shop, Robbie Kerr, says paying these higher wages makes it more difficult to give merit-based raises to employees.
Now I have to start everybody at, minimum wage.
While raising minimum wage can help some employees, businesses like First Chair Rental Shop say they are forced to raise their prices, ultimately hurting the consumer.
Former Flagstaff City Council member Eva Putseva argues that raising minimum wage will help moderate the impact of inflation for low-wage workers.
The cost of labor wouldn't have gone up this drastically if the businesses have been increasing the wages.
Management analyst for the city of Flagstaff, Chris Rohde, says depending on the consumer price index, the minimum wage will continue to go up yearly in Flagstaff because of a ballot measure passed in 2016.
The only way to stop that would be to repeal this amendment.
It was passed by the voters, so it is voter protected.
Rohde says they tried to inform and give businesses as much time as possible to prepare for the change. Kerr says he wants to keep his prices as low as possible, but businesses like his have to choose where to make increases.
Otherwise, I don't know how people can stay in business.
In Flagstaff, Alexia Stanbridge, Cronkite News.
Flagstaff workers aren't the only ones who will see an increase in minimum wage.
Across the state, the hourly wage will increase to $13.85 an hour in January.
Carvana announced plans to lay off 1,500 employees, or 8% of its workforce, on Friday. The Tempe-based company had already planned to cut 2,500 jobs. Friday's announcement brings the total to 4,000 planned layoffs. Earlier this year, Carvana had 21,000 workers and a stock price that traded as high as $377. Now Carvana's stock has fallen 97%, down to just $8 per share. These layoffs come as the online used car dealer has struggled to adjust its business plan in its changing market. Carvana says it has no additional comment beyond the memo about layoffs it sent out to its employees on Friday.
I'm Victoria Samuels. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. The U.S. men's national team played their first World Cup game in 8 years. How fans prepared for the match.
The weather around Phoenix is just beautiful today. Let's take a look at the weather around the valley.
Thank you for joining us for the special edition of Cronkite News. Here are the top stories that we're tracking today at noon.
Some of the best players for their program.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
Okay, let's go right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge?
You can do anything.
History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
The place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just gonna love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Victoria Samuels. The United States men's national team World Cup journey began today with their opening match against Wales in Qatar. Cronkite News reporter Edison LaCour was at Walter Station in Phoenix, where soccer fans got the party started.
Today marked the first World Cup match for the U.S. men's national team in over 3,000 days. Here in Phoenix, the American Outlaws hosted a watch party, but celebrations got started on Saturday night with their traditional night before event.
The moment we qualified in March, we really kind of hunkered down and went, what do we need to do in order to make this the biggest watch party in the Valley? That's ultimately been our goal since day one, is uniting the Valley in soccer.
USMNT fans have had to wait 8 years since the U.S. was in the World Cup. Now that they are back, AO Phoenix sees it as a chance to prove themselves.
Each World Cup cycle, we kind of have a different goal. We had, in 2010, kind of the establishment phase. In 2014, we had the growth stage. 2022, it's kind of the legitimacy stage.
This cycle began with their night before event, where they held a FIFA tournament, a Binho tournament, and had their new official World Cup merchandise available for purchase.
We're going from about 230 people to roughly 500, which is going to be an undertaking that we haven't seen in a while. And that for us is scary, but it's also exciting at the same time.
The games are finally here. And what do you do when home base is a brewery and your chapter slogan is more beer? You make your own beer, of course. This is AO Ale.
We wanted to create something that was a super crushable beer
that you could have a few of at noon and not feel like you were dragging for the rest of the day. When we were playing Mexico in Gold Cup, I was helping bartend one of the matches, and I was pouring a beer when we scored, and the hair on my arm stood up. I got goosebumps all over the place, and I'm looking forward to 3 full days of nothing but that.
The atmosphere here is electric at Walter Station. I myself have goosebumps. These watch parties will continue all throughout the valley and here at Walter Station for the entirety of the U.S.'s run in the World Cup. In Phoenix, Edison LaCour, Cronkite News.
The U.S. played to a 1-1 draw with Wales in their first match. They'll play England on Friday. Of course, the World Cup has not been without controversy, given the host country Qatar has been under fire for human rights violations, poor treatment of migrant workers, and anti-LGBTQ+ rhetoric. FIFA announced today all 32 captains of the World Cup teams will have an opportunity to wear no discrimination armbands. This comes after FIFA told the captains they cannot wear One Love armbands to support the LGBTQ+ community. FIFA also announced there will be no selling of beer at World Cup stadiums. Teams and fans have expressed criticism of the host country, which could cast a shadow over the sport's biggest stage in the weeks ahead. The Cardinals are in Mexico City tonight to take on the 49ers. Mexico has grown a large fan base for the NFL and its teams. Cronkite News reporter Liam Barrett walked around Mexico City to see just how much of the NFL culture has grown.
Mexico is home to a huge NFL fan base. Being the first country outside of the USA to host an NFL game back in 2005, it's clear that the Mexican people have embraced the sport in the years since. Sports bar and restaurant Pinche Gringo is a prime example of how much the fandom has grown. And owner Dan DeFossi says the NFL has taken notice.
Listen, Mexico is the second largest country for NFL fans in the world. And of course, we're neighbors, so there's a lot of cultural diffusion. And I know Mexico has adopted a lot of the passion for football. Mexican fans have their teams, they're very passionate about their game, and I think that's something that the NFL understands.
The NFL continues to grow in size in Mexico City, and if you're a Niners fan, it's not hard to tell. Although there are Cardinals fans in Mexico, it's clear that the 49ers have a much larger grip on the country. Mexico City local Tanya Osegura says that sharing a love for an NFL team is something that brings people together.
When you can share a passion with your family, I think that becomes like the best thing. Like here, we're sharing with all these people, so it's even better.
The Mexican NFL experience isn't just exciting for locals. California native Brianna Guzman traveled all the way to Mexico City to support her team. She says she couldn't pass on the opportunity to see the 49ers play abroad.
Oh, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You're never going to get it again. Even if they were to come back, it's not going to be the same. It'll be completely different, so I'm really happy to be here.
Teams like the 49ers and Cardinals continue to grow their fan bases in Mexico, and the games played in Mexico City shine a light on just how much the NFL has become a part of Mexican culture. In Mexico City, Liam Barrett, Cronkite News.
The Cardinals take on the 49ers tonight at 6:15 at the Aztec Stadium in Mexico City. Neither ASU nor Arizona will be heading to a bowl game this season, but they aren't quite done as yet. Both will be playing for bragging rights this Friday in the annual Territorial Cup. The Sun Devils have dominated the matchup recently with 5 straight wins. Head coach Sean Aguano is hoping to keep that streak alive.
A win, especially in this Territorial Cup, there is pressure on a head coach, from the standpoint that, everybody's watching. There's pressure to win. But I embrace that. I mean, that's just the game of football, and I've been doing this for a long time.
The game will kick off on Friday at 1 p.m. That's it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Sydney.
Still ahead on Cronkite News, a presidential tradition ahead of the holidays. We'll introduce you to the 2 special turkeys who got a chance.
something different about you, a new brightness in your eyes.
Welcome to the Hotel Portofino.
How utterly charming.
Something is coming, can you feel it now?
My dreams have been invigorated.
We like stories that are going to elevate us.
What is your sense now of the situation?
They gave us possibilities.
This is the opportunity to share my recipes.
There are heroes everywhere you look.
You're going deep into the heart of America.
The Holocaust is a story that Americans have to reckon with, too.
This is pure exploration.
Wow!
I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Thanksgiving is just days away.
But 2 turkeys are staying away from the table thanks to the annual presidential pardon.
This is chocolate, right? It is. Chocolate, you are pardoned.
Chocolate was one of the turkeys saved. You can see the other one named Chip walking by. Turkey pardons are believed to have started with President Lincoln back in 1863. And the formal turkey presentation we see now has been around since President Truman. After President Biden pardoned Chocolate and Chip today, he went on to say he's thankful for frontline and essential workers who got us through the pandemic. That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.